Today we're talking about the results of the New Hampshire primaries, the Supreme Court weighing in on Texas' battle with Border Patrol, Israel's ceasefire proposal, and other top news for Wednesday, January 24. Stay informed while remaining focused on Christ with the pour-over today. Here's the quote of the day. Gravity explains the motions of the planets, but it cannot explain who sets the planets in motion. Sir Isaac Newton. Let's get started with some espresso shots. Former President Trump notched another victory yesterday. Despite trailing Trump in the polls, Nikki Haley had hoped her lead among independent voters would close the gap in the Granite State. However, the former president showed his staying power amongst Republicans. Haley did feel the love in Dixville Notch, New Hampshire, where all 6 registered voters cast their ballots for her at 12:01 a.m. yesterday. The tiny resort town boasts the earliest vote in the nation. Across the aisle, things were a little tangled. Due to a dispute with the Democratic Party over their election date, New Hampshire Dems won't be awarded delegates at the DNC, and President Biden's name wasn't on the ballot. However, voters still showed up for the incumbent, bypassing 21 lesser-known candidates on the ticket to write in Biden's name and secure him the symbolic victory. Whatever the outcome of 2024's election, the hope of Christians won't be shaken. Our truest home is God's kingdom, and He is our ultimate King. Live as exiles here, serving as Christ's winsome, peacemaking ambassadors with your eyes fixed on your heavenly home. 2 Corinthians 5:14, 19, and 20 says, "For Christ's love compels us, because we are convinced that one died for all, and therefore all died. He has committed to us the message of reconciliation. We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making His appeal through us." The Supreme Court handed the White House a temporary win in its messin' with Texas. The court ruled 5-4 that Border Patrol agents are allowed to remove razor wire installed by Texas on the U.S.-Mexico border. The Biden administration praised the ruling for allowing them to address urgent humanitarian situations and enforce our laws, while Texas Governor Abbott's office said a lack of deterrence encourages migrants to make unsafe and illegal crossings. Texas is spending billions to deter illegal migration, often putting it at odds with federal officers tasked with the same job. In another soon-to-be-litigated clash, Texas is blocking Border Patrol from a 2.5-mile stretch of the Rio Grande and has begun policing the area itself. Governor Abbott blamed President Biden's reckless open border policies, while the White House called it another of Abbott's extreme political stunts. As nations seek to manage their borders, consider the radical inclusivity of the gospel. God's kingdom has no borders, and His mission is to win the worship of all nations. Isaiah 66:22 and 23 says, "As the new heavens and the new earth that I make will endure before me, declares the Lord, so will your name and descendants endure. From one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, all mankind will come and bow down before me, says the Lord." Fighting continues in Gaza, even as ceasefire negotiations are reportedly taking place between Israel and Hamas. Israeli Defense Forces lost 24 troops Monday, IDF's deadliest day of the war since October 7th, and proceeded to encircle Gaza's second-largest city, Khan Yunis. Following the events, Prime Minister Netanyahu said Israel won't stop its offensive until Hamas is eliminated, all hostages are returned, and Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel. Israel's facing pressure from home and abroad to scale back the war. According to sources, Hamas recently rejected a proposal by Israel that included a 2-month ceasefire, the freeing of all hostages in exchange for the release of imprisoned Palestinians, and the relocation of senior Hamas leaders to other countries, which could allow Hamas to regroup, but would weaken the organization in Gaza. Be quick to point to God and give Him the credit for your hope, strength, and love during scary and uncertain times. Even in the midst of global wars, our future with Him is secure. 1 Peter 1, 3, 4, and 6 says, "In His great mercy, He has given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, and into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. In all of this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials." Ever tried explaining the book of Leviticus to your second grader? Helping kids understand and love Scripture isn't always simple. Thankfully, the Bible Recap is here with a 365-day reading plan designed for kids. The Bible Recap Kids Devotional by Tara Lee Cobble provides a pathway for little feet, ages 6 and up. It follows the Bible Recap book and podcast's 365-day chronological reading plan, and it points out key verses and essential truths, along with word puzzles, coloring pages, and more. Pre-order now at the link and receive the first 45 days of the Devo now. Discover the story God's telling about Himself with your whole family. In other brews, here's a rapid round of updates. Barbenheimer continues to dominate award circuits, grabbing 21 Oscar nominations. Its first act got 8 nods, and Oppenheimer received the most nominations this year with 13. Revealed yesterday, the field features women directing 3 of the 10 Best Picture nominees for the first time in the Oscars' 96-year history. Envelopes get opened March 10th. Sunday, 20-year-old Nick Dunlap became the first amateur golfer to win a PGA Tour event since 1991's Phil Mickelson. But the college sophomore can't take home the $1,512,000 purse due to his amateur status. Instead, the money goes to runner-up Christian Bezuidenhout, and Dunlap gets exemptions into all 2024 signature events, including the Masters and the PGA Championship. A simple blood test could screen for Alzheimer's disease with 97% accuracy, even before symptoms show, according to a study published Monday. The new test, called the ALZ-PATH p-tau217 assay, measures levels of the protein p-tau217, which builds up in the brains of people with Alzheimer's. It's expected to cost between $200 and $500 and be available for clinical use soon. 2 Navy SEALs lost off the coast of Somalia on January 11th are presumed dead. Part of a covert mission to intercept Iranian missile parts before they reached Houthi rebels. Both were lost after one sailor fell into rough seas, and the other jumped in to save him. President Biden called the deaths a profound loss for our country. Get ready for nature's big buzz this spring. For the first time since 1803, 2 broods of cicadas will emerge simultaneously across 16 states from Virginia to Illinois. From April to June, America will host more than 1 trillion of the loud, littering insects, with the broods crossing paths to chorus together in central Illinois and eastern Iowa. And that's all we have for today. Thanks so much for listening. If you're listening on the Apple Podcasts app, give us a 5-star rating and drop a review. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a follow and hit the notification bell to never miss a new episode. We appreciate your support and hope you have a great day. We'll see you on Friday.